Here's my Hey there, and welcome to this week's Music Career Study Group. This is the weekly place where artists get together and we exchange ideas. We learn stuff about how to move our music career forward. My name is Kevin Bruner. Joining me is Chris Robley. Chris, how are you doing?
Doing really good. I'm been ingesting a whole lot of, I don't know if ingesting is the right word. I've been reviewing a lot of music news from 2024 to kind of put together like a year in review sort of thing. And it was an action-packed year in the music business. It was all kinds of drama. And so I'm excited for I think maybe next week we're discussing that. Is that true? At some point in the
I
next few
think
weeks, we'll
last week we spoke erroneously and said this would be the last one for the year, but we're going to do one next week.
yeah, it'll be fun. There is no shortage of controversy to remind ourselves about.
Excellent. I can't wait. Well, this is the Music Career Study Group. Let us know where you're watching from. Say hi in the comments. This is an interactive live stream where we're going to have a topic. Today's topic is 10 music videos that you should be making in 2025. We're going to be going down that list, but we want to be hearing from you and hearing your feedback along the way. And it's coming to the end of 2024. I cannot believe it.
Yeah, we've got two people in California. It's Pasadena and Los Angeles so far. I can't tell if Castro isn't tuning in live and has to wait until their 9 p.m. to tune in, or
I think it's their 9 p.m. for it to be live. That would be my guess.
So it's 9 p.m. where Castro is now. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I would assume so. 2024 has been a huge year. And next week on the live stream, we're going to recap some of the biggest news stories. I'm assuming AI was top of the list because it's been nonstop.
I didn't put it at the. I mean, I suppose it's just a copy and paste of to reorient things. But no, I didn't put it at the top of the list because I felt personally that maybe I'm editorializing here. I felt like all of that sort of AI hype sort of died down at some point mid-year, and then all of the AI news was actually law and lawsuits, different kinds of precedent that's going to be set, which I feel like is interesting. But
yeah. Sylvan's watching from Toronto, Ontario. Chris and I were just talking about Canada because it's looking like we're going to be at Folk Alliance in Montreal in February. Who doesn't want to go to Montreal in February?
And the last time you and I were there was we made it in right before a blizzard struck, and it was a blast because we arrived on time.
And on my way home, I got the privilege of sleeping in the Seattle airport. My first time sleeping in an airport.
All right. Yes, I think AI is top of the list because that's what every panel discusses. Yeah, I know.
The music industry seems to only have space for one topic each year. The year before it was, like 2 years prior, it was NFTs, and that's what every panel was about. And now it's all AI. Again, you are watching the Music Career Study Group. It's our weekly gathering to discuss a topic about moving your music career forward, where we can exchange ideas. We want it to be interactive. So if you're watching, weigh in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from and say hi. And let's dive in. Today, we're going to be talking about 10 music videos you should be making in 2025. But newsflash, you don't have to wait till it's actually 2025 to start making these videos. You can do it now. You can get a jump start. So anyway, Chris, what is there any background information we need?
Well, I suppose The background that's most important is that I think it's no longer really up for debate. Video is the way to promote music these days. If you're a good writer, you can still write blog posts or catchy, pithy copy on Threads or Twitter or whatever. There's lots of ways you can still promote music. There's still radio promotion, all the things. Playlisting, despite streaming fraud, is an avenue to get your music growing. But video is really the way. And if that's true, I think it's also important to acknowledge that video on social platforms is a more democratized form of promotion than a lot of those other things we mentioned. Radio promotion is not democratized. It's certainly not cheap. Playlisting is not democratized. The majors and big, huge artists have the advantage in all those realms. With video, it's not true, at least not to the same degree, because social platforms want to keep their viewers glued and engaged. And if your video as an independent artist is every bit as entertaining or more entertaining than some famous person's, they're going to show it to a bunch of people. And that gives you a huge opportunity. So then this discussion is sort of like, okay, cool. You've convinced me video is where I should be putting my efforts. But where do I start? There's so many options. So that's what we're discussing.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a lot of options that are easier than you may be thinking, because video can seem a bit daunting. It can seem overwhelming. You have, everything on this list we'll get into, but there's these top-notch professional videos. There's it always comes down, you got to edit stuff, then you got to fix the audio. It just can be a big task if you don't have a strategy or plan and just feel like you're taking a stab in the dark.
And sometimes it's a big task even when you do have a strategy and a plan.
Yeah, you've had a few major undertakings in that area. Again, if you're joining us, drop a comment and say hi. Let us know where you're watching from, and feel free to ask questions along the way. We've got strong representation from Canada today. LA and Canada are in the house. All right.
And also on the topic, I would love to hear what people are doing with video and like what you've tried, what's been a flop, what's been a surprise success, what's working, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
in Vermont, which is
Vermont.
honorary Canada.
Isn't Vermont like honorary Maine, which is also honorary Canada?
Yeah.
Chris is in Maine, by the way. I'm in Camas, Washington, right outside of Portland, Oregon. All right, first up, this one. It's number one on our list. Isn't in no particular order, by the way. It's number one on the list, but it's probably where most people go to when they're thinking about making music videos or video, marrying the two things together, their music with video. And that is the official music video. And it's interesting how, because of like what you were saying, Chris, before video was democratized, that it was the video engagement that there was the official music video. And it was very expensive. But if you were able to break through with one of them, they could be a huge boost to your career back in the day. This one, I'm not as much of a fan anymore. I think there are some better video strategies, but mainly because I still talk to artists that say that, I've only got, they might say something like, I've got $5,000 to promote this record and I'm going to use it on making an official music video for our single. And I'll be like, please don't. It's a waste of money. I remember there was an artist, I was like, please, I think they were going to spend 10 grand. I was like, please, you do not need to spend this money on this video. You are going to be so disappointed. And they did it anyway. And
they always do it anyways. What's with those people?
They were so disappointed because I think it is, they like to feel special. It's a big production. There's lights, there's a director, there's cameras. It feels like I'm doing something important and real that's going to have an impact. And then you put it on YouTube and get 10 views and realize that was $1,000 per view. Probably could have gotten more views for the money elsewhere. That's my big thing with the official music video. But you have done some very creative official music videos that I think were worth it, that you did with low budget, but they still came out great.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you put creativity into the video, they can be worth doing if you're, if your budget is $0 or $100 or something like that. Like that classic one from 15 years ago when like the YouTube age was just beginning. OK Go, when they did their treadmill video. All
Mhm.
they spent on that, I presume, was, time. Maybe they had to spend something to rent some treadmills or something. But, that sort of video where it's a bit of a stunt, you got to rehearse something, you have to be dedicated to pulling it off well, but you don't have to pay an editor and you don't have to pay for a drone footage that, like all that stuff I think is a waste of money when it's, the 45-second sweeping view of the coast before the music begins. So if you can pull something off cheaply, I think there's a place for the official music video still. But you also have to know that it's only usually going to appeal to your diehard fans. These things are terrible mostly for outreach and like just getting organic traction on TikTok or something like that and having people fall in love. It's just a different format and it has its uses. I also think it's great to embed on your homepage of your website, let's say, so that when someone from the industry or a kind of a casual fan wants to go a bit deeper, they show up on your website and there's your, priority video presentation. That's cool. But it's, not going to be a huge fan acquisition tool, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one thing that's with music videos, if you're going to spend the money and do an official music video, I think you really need to really think through and communicate what the final product is going to look like. Because I think sometimes where music videos can go off the rails is the artist makes it for themselves. Like it's pretty self-indulgent. And I don't mean like what's visually on screen, but it's like it's their vision of what they think would be right for the song, as opposed to what will work, what will people like, what will in a social world, what will get people to stick around and watch. This long dramatic buildup may not be it, even though that might be visually what you're thinking for the song. So I just think if you're going to spend that kind of money, you really need to think through what the final output is going to be and how people are going to engage. And like you said, if you don't have a bunch of diehard fans, this shouldn't be your first stop, at least with a lot of money. You can do it on the cheap. That's fine.
Well,
you didn't detail what you did for a couple of your videos.
Oh yeah, I talk about a few of them. So one of them was I reversed my song. I played it backwards and I memorized the lyrics, the nonsense sounding lyrics backwards. And then I went to a swimming pool, nearby swimming pool, and had a friend shoot me lip syncing the song in reverse while I would fall back into the pool. So what you eventually see once everything is flipped back around is me rising out of the pool over and over again, singing the actual song. And, it looks a little weird because I'm singing backwards. But anyways, that was one of them. Was a lot of fun and kind of hurt. My eyes were stinging by the end of it. But again, I think it cost me, it might have cost me $75 to make that video.
Yeah.
Another one was my daughter had this idea to have a music video where we have this game where like, it's almost like Russian roulette, but with whipped cream, and it just launches whipped cream.
It was all the rage like 4 or 5 years ago or whenever that was.
Yeah. And she was like, let's make a video with that. So that was kind of the ridiculous premise of that. And it's just whipped cream hitting my face over and over again as I lip sync a song. And I did add graphics and some other kind of stuff to it. So it has a real intentionally cheap, cluttered, surrealist sort of look to it. But again, I did all that myself. It didn't cost me anything. And both of those were good as ads because there was something visually strange about them, so that when I ran them to strangers, they were like, what the hell is this? And would actually watch. So I'd say, yeah, if there's something really unusual and visually captivating about the official video, you can use them for fan outreach.
Yeah, I think what you mentioned in both those videos is good and if you follow like marketing people on social media, you'll probably hear them talk about a hook. In music, we tend to talk about a hook related to the song, but both of those had a visual hook, like the whipped cream smacking you in the face. People are going to stop scrolling and be like, what is this? Or the one you coming up out of the pool backwards. Both of those had great visual hooks. And I know that you were probably thinking about that when you made it, but maybe not necessarily like, oh, this would be a great ad. It was was that a happy accident after you were done? Like, oh, this really works.
I think happy accident with the backwards one. It was more intentional with the whipped cream one, because by that time in my music making life, we'd fully moved into like the social video, vertical video age. So I was thinking that way.
Yes. Yes. Hey,
Do we?
if you're just joining us, this is the Music Career Study Group. Say hi in the comments. We got people weighing in. Got some good comments we haven't got to yet. Say hi. Let us know where you're watching from. And if you've got any questions or thoughts or experience that you've had with video, we're talking about the 10 music videos you should be making in 2025. It's still 2024, but we're just trying to get the brain ready to hit maximum peak success in 2025. And video is one of the quickest ways to get traction for a song. We were just talking about the official music video. Did you have anything else on that before we moved on to the next one, Chris?
No, I was just wondering if we want to hit any of these comments.
Oh yeah. We've got.
So Malia is recommending CapCut. I use that quite a bit. I also use Final Cut. I know some people use Adobe Premiere.
I love CapCut. It's free, and it's I actually got there might be several different pro tiers. I got one of the base pro tier to unlock some more of the effects. Amazing tool. iMovie, they lost out. They could have owned that whole world, but they lost out. Yeah. CapCut makes it so easy to edit video.
We got a couple.
I can't figure out Final Cut.
A couple people mentioning Rotor, and then Miles is talking about Clipchamp, and so I have not played around with Clipchamp at all, but Rotor is a tool that has a bunch of sort of stock footagey type stuff you can fly into a video. We'll probably talk later about a bunch of types of videos where you could use Rotor.
Yeah. Ian has a good comment right here. I'm going to put on screen. Hey, Melissa. I think Chris just hit on something in talking about video not being a good fan acquisition tool. I think the first step in all these things is to know what your goal for the video is going to be. Let me see. It doesn't. Yeah, that's all of it.
Then he says that.
Yeah. Some things are good for acquisition, other things are good for deepening engagement, etc. Knowing the end goal for what you're doing is step one. I agree. In fact, one of the groups that changed my opinion about official music videos, like if you'd asked me 6 months ago, I would have said dead, done, don't even bother. Is 21 Pilots, because they do an official music video for every track, which is not normal. But they are a powerhouse. So the results they get are not going to be the same for just an independent artist trying this out. But what they've done that has made it such an amazing engagement tool is you can be a fan of 21 Pilots, love their music, and not know anything about the fake mythology that they've created behind the band that is not supposed to be real. It's just supposed to be like this fun mythology behind it, that there's this this city and this other world and all this kind of stuff that are mentioned sometimes in the songs. But again, you don't have to be a fan. But a lot of these clues about what's happening in the drama unfolds in their music videos. And so fans will be hanging on every frame, like looking for clues and Easter eggs of what happens next to these characters and how the mythology unfolds. And sometimes there's clues in there, sometimes there isn't. But because they do that, their fans just devour their music, the official music videos. And in fact, the release of their latest album, which came out like in May, was delayed a week because some of the videos weren't completely finished. So it's just become a very critical piece of their music promotion toolkit. But, they've built it up, and that's taken time over the years. And but I thought that was an interesting way of, okay, if you're communicating something more than, hey, we're just lip syncing on the beach or walking down a railroad track.
Was that a Coldplay diss?
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, Yellow They Are on the beach. It was not. It was not. Actually, I did see a music video recently by a bigger artist that was on the beach, and I was just like, nothing's plugged in. There's no microphones. Obviously, it's just like, I don't know.
What's up, Charlie? How's it going? Rayer, how are you? Hey. And then Melissa, I want to do a video for my new single, but so nervous to do shoddy work. I'm so not tech savvy. I wonder if this is a segue into the second type of video we say people should be making, because if you're stressing, Melissa, about a big 3.5-minute song production, an official music video, you're feeling all this intense pressure to make that something really crazy, forget about that and do what we're calling song snippet videos. So this would be like just 15 seconds of the tune. Now you could do, one version for the verse, another for the chorus, another for the second verse, whatever. You can make as many of these as you want. But in your case, just maybe commit to doing the chorus and see how many different ways you can shoot that. Maybe do like a lip sync somewhere, maybe do a live version of that, whatever, like one in one location, one at home. Like just focus on 15 seconds and do a bunch of different things and see which one you like the best. I think that might free you up to experiment and play more. And then not only that, but you're more likely to have that short vertical oriented video go further in terms of actually reaching people.
Yeah, I think so this one, if you didn't catch it, number 2, the song snippet video. And the reason why I like this so much and why I dislike the official music video, because the official music video has trained us to act like it's still the late 90s when MTV, or maybe the early, whenever it was the 90s when MTV really transitioned into reality
started,
television.
yeah, right.
Like the 80s, it was all music videos. But it trained us that this one video has to do all the heavy lifting. And that's it. We made it. If people like it, great. If not, well, see you next time. Where this is the exact opposite. It's like, who says you only have one video per song? You could have 20, you could have 30.
Mhm.
Keep filming the chorus in different vibes, styles, because not only is there different audiences for music, but there's different like visual communication styles, and some things work on different platforms and some things don't. What's going to work on YouTube is not necessarily going to be the same thing that works well on X or Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever service that you are engaging on, or even sitting on your website. So just getting out of the mindset that there's just one video. If it's like you shoot something, it's the chorus and it sucks. Well, the good news is no one saw it. So there's no reason to feel bad or embarrassed, because most of the content going on the web, no one is seeing. So if it doesn't connect, then you know that it just didn't work, at least on that platform and at that time.
Yeah, and I should share the link in the comments. I wrote an article maybe 2 months ago that was all about these 7 visual trends I kept seeing in song snippet vertical videos on TikTok and Reels. I'll share the link, but you should watch that. I actually posted a video with the examples as well, because it might spark some inspiration in that regard. And I think that this gives you the chance to be the most, maybe the most creative for one, but also the most appropriate for the current age of social media that we're in. And like, probably everyone's seen that one with the guy with the acoustic guitar and there's a rope tied to his foot and the car's dragging the rope and everyone's, what's going to happen? It's like, that was the most TikTok-y video I think I've ever seen. And it was great. Like,
it's funny because you see that and you're like, obviously he's not tied to the car. But yet you're still sitting there. What's he gonna do?
Yeah. And then it ends before you see anything, and it's total clickbait. And that's what this social stuff is all about. But anyways, that sort of video is just so appropriate for this modern age. And also, like, I still kind of think it's like a cool representation, or not representation, but it's a cool visual thing to match with the song. So now I'm like, oh, who is this guy? I'm drawn into kind of wondering who he is. So play around with that.
Yeah, I think one of the things that, by the way, this just a side note, Instagram just recently made a couple updates that I think worth noting. One, you can reset the algorithm in your account. It doesn't erase all your previous data, but it'll reset the algorithm to just start over and start recommending stuff. Because it's like frustrating when you use some of these platforms that you can't, like, you want to see what all the visual language people are using, like what's trending. And sometimes you just can't get out of getting the same thing over and over again. So that's one thing. The other thing, which Chris, we might need to write something on the blog about, they just launched a feature. I'm assuming it's for everyone and not just trickling out to certain accounts, that you can test Reels now. So you can, it'll put it in front of some people and it'll tell you, I don't know what kind of feedback it gives you, but it allows you to test it to an audience to see how it's going to perform first. And that might that might be something that's worth checking out as well. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I thought that was cool. I watched that Instagram CEO's video about it. Sorry, I'm looking for that link I said I'd share. And I thought that's really cool. In one way, it takes the pressure off of creators. They can share their stuff knowing it will go to strangers first as a way of like not embarrassing themselves so they can experiment. But the other thing I was wondering is if you have an audience who's come to love your stuff, why? I guess I started wondering, why do creators feel the need to sort of, I don't know, put a toe in the water when they're experimenting with new stuff? Like, wouldn't their existing audience be the best audience to see if this stuff works?
Yeah, that's why I don't quite understand the feature yet. I saw them post about it. I didn't go down into it in detail. I meant to later and I just haven't. I think that was earlier this week when I like Monday or late last week. So it's a brand new feature. But yeah, that's why I was curious. I'm like, wouldn't I just want my followers? I mean, I want the opposite to happen. I want my followers to like it. So therefore you'll show it to more people, not show it to some randoms, but
who don't care.
They don't care.
I did put in the comments, you can click at the 7 social video trends for music promotion. People should check that out.
Yeah. And I think in Facebook, the link, actually, I think we can drop links. I think if other people drop in links, it won't work. I think that's what it is. Anyway, yeah, check that out. That's a good companion piece to this discussion. All right, let's keep moving along. But I will say the last thing on the snippets, start with the hook. Mm-hmm. In fact, well, this morning, Chris, I saw a video by some, music business talking head who said, if you're starting with the hook, you might be doing it wrong. He was saying that the second verse might be better. And I get that. I mean, I think try lots of different places. What you shouldn't be doing is starting at the most uninteresting part of your song, which tends to be the 30-second synth buildup that you put in there thinking it was artistically interesting. And in the form of an album coming out of the song before, it might be, but on social media, that's just dead air. So start with something interesting. Usually the chorus is going to hook people in musically, but I think this person, what their main point was that the verse might have more lyrics that provide something visual on screen that might be worth diving into, as opposed to just the musical hook. But anyway, try lots of different snippets. You can't do too many. In fact, this was a few years back, but I was talking to somebody at TikTok, and they told me that The Weeknd did 150 videos for when his latest single had come out. And that was just for one song. All right, moving on.
That's incredible. Okay, so the next few really can be fairly low impact. The first two, I think, are things you have to put a lot of time and thought and creativity into. But number 3 is visualization. So this is one of those videos where usually there's just some subtle graphic motion on screen, but it's nothing crazy. Normally the artist isn't even in it. It's more of like just a subtle graphic thing that's happening. I think these are good for a time when people are listening to music on like their giant smart TVs, or they've got YouTube going, and they're not glued to the couch watching your video, but it's nice to have some motion. So that's what. Do you have anything to say on that before we?
No, other than Rotor, which has been mentioned by several people already, is a great place to make quick visualizations. I'm sure AI can do it too. Mm-hmm. AI can have like a third arm come out of your body or something, it's just.
And with the launch of Sora yesterday,
I did do something with AI for photos that was to turn me into animation, because I've got this whole idea. I'm going to try and launch.
How did it work?
Christmas. Well, I had a thing where I was holding the microphone, and it looks like I've got like an extra hand holding, like it's all gnarled up. I'm like, why did it even do that? It was just like the shadows it couldn't quite make out, so it just kept adding more fingers.
Hot dog fingers.
But anyway, what's up next?
Number 4 is the lyric video, or also the karaoke video. So for a long time, we recommended people kind of stop focusing on lyric videos. For that same reason, is they're usually terrible for outreach and introductory content. But for your diehard fans, I actually think in a lot of cases they like lyric videos more than the official lyric video, because it's just like that immediate, like, what is this about? They read along. So they can be as simple or as complicated as you want. You could really spend a lot of time doing crazy graphics stuff, or white background, black text. Sometimes minimalism is your friend. So make some lyric videos, karaoke videos, maybe remove the vocal or have the vocal real kind of tucked in there so your fans can sing along.
Yeah, and some of these things, these video trends, I don't know if I would call them trends. Some of them are new ways of communicating. Like, I have 2 teenage daughters. The way they engage with music is nothing like, worlds different from when I was a teenager. And so it's interesting to see how things like lyric videos are pretty important to them. Like, they love to go see what the lyrics are. And, Spotify has that new lyric feature. So I think it's worth trying out. If you haven't, throw out some lyric videos. You might find that they work better than you expected, depending on who your audience is. Again, if no one looks at it, who cares? Fun. In fact, Miles said that was a throwaway line, but the good news is no one saw it is actually one of the most comforting thoughts, to allow yourself to be creative. If I try and it sucks, sorry, my tens of followers. Sorry to yeah, you know what? I'm at the stage of life where I just don't care anymore what people think.
Beautiful to arrive at that point.
You know what? I recorded a Christmas song. I just did an arrangement for it and was sending to some people. Like, I was actually singing. It's terrible. Massive auto-tune to even get it in key. But I'm like, I don't care anymore. I'm just trying. This was a cool version of this song I was doing for last Sunday, and yeah, I don't care. What are you gonna not like what I do? Already, nobody likes what I do anyway.
You're free.
I'm free totally when you realize that you're starting with a complete and total rejection, and anything above that is the best part of being a musician.
Heck yeah. Well, number 5 on our list is art track videos. So this is maybe the simplest thing of all for 2 reasons. One, what it is just a video with a static image of your album cover while the music plays. The second reason why it's so simple is you don't even have to make them, because YouTube, if you use Reverb Nation, for instance, to distribute your music to YouTube Music, they create them for you, and they're just populated on your topic channel for your music. And all you have to do is just grab the URL. You can share them. You can make playlists and put them on your own channel. But yeah, simple design. Can you download them?
Probably not.
I don't know.
Like, if YouTube's going to make it for me, it'd be nice if I could just get it from them.
Oh, I see. I don't think so, because you can't access your topic channel, right, to control it.
No. I know that Rotor makes simple both. They have a tool to make lyric videos, visualizations, and they have a tool to make art track videos. These actually have more utility than you may think. If you're not familiar with, like, if you don't use YouTube a bunch, they actually show up on YouTube quite a bit. And there's a whole playlist ecosystem inside of YouTube. I know when we think about playlists, oftentimes it's all Spotify and maybe a couple other streaming services, but YouTube actually has a lot of playlists, and it's still, is it like one of the number one? It's one of the number one destinations for music. I know it was rivaling. It might be bigger. It wasn't that? That one of the big news stories?
Yeah, yesterday I looked at that graph, and surprisingly, radio was still number one. In the aggregate, just behind radio was streaming, and then in third place was YouTube. Except that you have to remember, YouTube is a single entity, and streaming as an entity, many, many companies. So YouTube is massive.
Yeah, it's the number one stream. It's the number one place people consume music. I think the big storyline that was from earlier this year, we'll have to follow up for next week's edition of the Music Career Study Group, was that it's growing in popularity with younger audiences. That YouTube is. So we'll have to look that up. That was like I think like in late spring that might have come out. Anyway.
Yeah, so next on our list, number 6, is Spotify Canvas videos, which you're probably all familiar with, but they're just the quick a vertical video that loops when you listen to music in Spotify, and they're, I think, 3.5 to 7.5-ish seconds long. You could grab something from your official video. You could shoot something. You could just grab something from your camera roll. This doesn't have to be precious, because you can change them whenever you want.
Yeah, and you can have this loaded in before your song or album actually drops. So you can do that inside Spotify for Artists at any time once they have your track in their system, ready to release for a future date. Or if it's already out, you can go do it at any time as well. And you can change them. You don't have to keep them the same. You can swap them out. I'm curious how this feature is actually performing. I know when it was new, they were saying that all these stats about it was like 60% more engagement, more likes, more saves, all this kind of stuff. I don't know if that's true anymore. They said something recently where like they kind of watered it down. They didn't say, ooh, 60% more. They just said more engagement. I'm like, I bet this feature is dying. I don't know.
Well, I'm always suspicious of those claims to some degree, because I'm like, okay, for the artists you chose hand selected to beta test this feature, they all had great performance. Maybe that's because you hand selected them because they're the type of artist that has amazing performance. And then you compared the performance of those tracks that you beta tested to some average of everything else that's out there on Spotify, including, millions of tracks no one has ever listened to. So it's a little skewed from the start, but I like having them from the moment you release a new song, just because it's that sort of like, hey, I'm here, I care. My storefront is totally pimped out with all the stuff.
Yeah, so. No, I agree. I'm just curious how it's, if one, how many people have turned it off? Because at first I turned it off because I was driving. It was so distracting. This flashing, looping video that's just, it felt like just light flashing. But then now I've got a different car that has Apple CarPlay, and it doesn't show these videos.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of surprising that it doesn't. So it sort of just removed that feature altogether. But anyway, like you said, it's something that regardless, it makes it feel like it's a fully merchandised release when you have them. They're easy to make. Just do it. Don't overthink it.
Yeah. Well, number 7 on our list is an area where I do feel like artists should put a lot of attention and a lot of thought and creativity, because what I would prioritize out of this whole list is number 2, the song snippet, and then this one, number 7, which is music related short form content. And that is a very vague thing, but basically that means it's about your music or it's about you as an artist, but it isn't a lip sync or a performance of the song itself. It could be like, here's what this song is about, or hey, here's me learning a guitar solo, or here's me in the studio, here's me making a joke about what it's like to tour and have no one show up at your club show, or any number of things. But it's basically meant to deepen people's connection with you.
Yeah, and there's lots of ways you can do this. I think this is the opportunity to expand beyond just I'm a musician. Like, what are the other elements in your life that play into your music career that have kind of some extra human interest, another point of connection for fans? It could be as one of the videos that I just got like totally hooked on. I already mentioned that I this year became a big fan of 21 Pilots for a number of reasons, but their producer puts out amazing reels with the session there talking about how they got every single sound, like in detail. It's like this kind of stuff would be unheard of.
I would love that. I would love that.
This kind of stuff would be unheard of, like even just 10 years ago or 20 years ago. Like people would be like, I'm not going to give away my secrets, but they'll show you the session. They're showing you what plugins they're using. They show you what they do. And some people think, well, he's giving away all his secrets. No, because no one's going to go do this. They're hooked and watching this. Now they want him to produce their record. That's genius. But also it just adds another connection point to the music that for fans of his production work, or specifically because he does more than just 21 Pilots, but a lot of his videos are about the 21 Pilots tracks. it's just crazy to see, it's kind of like how it's made kind of video. That's really what I think it taps into, that people like seeing how something is made.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting, and they get tons of engagement. Now, that doesn't mean that might not be your shtick. You're not a music producer, you use other people, but it's like those kind of things, like thinking outside of just like, it has to be me singing or performing, or like you said, lip syncing to the video. What other things can bring the music in? A story about how you wrote the song, why you wrote the song, and tell that story. Like, yeah, there's lots that can be.
And I think it's worth reiterating that the point of all of these types of videos is that they are about you, or about the connection you have with your audience. They shouldn't be the types of things where you're chasing a trend, or, sharing a meme or a joke just to get views. That is the wrong way to think of this. Like, ultimately, all of these videos should come back to, just enriching someone's impression of who you are as an artist or a person.
Ian had a good idea. By the way, this is the Music Career Study Group. If you've got ideas or comments, please comment. And if you haven't told us where you're watching from yet, please do. Yeah. And don't forget to like or thumbs up the video. That helps us a lot. Or share it. Share it with your artist friends. Yeah, this is a good one. Ian said, I've done interview clips where I have ChatGPT act like a music magazine reporter and give me 50 or so questions about my release. I record myself answering the questions that don't suck and post those. That's a great idea. See,
That's
easy,
awesome.
Easy.
Oh, and then he follows up. Then I use something like Launch or Opus clips to trim it down to like 50, 30-second clips to post with captions. That's cool. Hey, Ian, how do those perform? I don't know, compared to whatever else you know. Like, I imagine you're also just posting like music performance type stuff, right? How do those perform?
Melissa's watching from Nashville. Yeah, that's a great idea. In fact, you should be using ChatGPT for video ideas. We do it all the time. I'll say, like, you got to tell it, you got to give it good info. You got to be like, act like, in Ian's situation, I would assume he said something like, act as if you are a music magazine journalist, reporter who's covering this artist who has these things going on, because you got to give them some backstory, and come up with questions that would make for great video interview questions, and it'll spit it out, and it's usually better than I expect it to be. And there's some garbage in there, but that helps you get past that creative wall about, I don't know what to video about myself, but give it some info and ideas, and it'll spit out. It's a great sounding board. That's what I love about it.
Malia, thanks. She's saying the Music Career Study Group is required watching for my music marketing class next semester. You're welcome.
I guess that means we have to do it.
Music.
Chris, I think we're signed up for the semester now too.
Do I get an honorary doctorate degree as part of this?
So. I'll give it to you, Chris.
Oh, thank you.
Doctor of good vibes.
Doctor of good vibes. Let's see. Number 8 is cover song videos. And this is probably controversial. Some people are like, I don't do covers. I'm a genius. Why would I record other people's? Because other people are geniuses too. That is the answer. And the Beatles and Adele and lots of other massive household names all have done covers. The benefit to you, if you are an independent artist with still, a growing audience, is that it sort of shortcuts some of the impediments to people watching your stuff, because if they already love the tune and the artist it's by, then now all they have to do is love your version of it. You kind of like got rid of 2 of the 3 roadblocks to people usually enjoying things. So I think cover song videos are a great opportunity. And then, whether you do them vertical for TikTok or you do them for wide for YouTube, whatever, that's up to you, but they are worth exploring.
Yeah. The thing why covers are so important is because it's a musical language people already know. In fact, Chris, I saw this happen with you performing. You were playing here in Portland, and you were playing your stuff. It was at the Owl's Den. You were
playing your stuff. It sucked. No one was in it.
Everyone's just sitting here like this, and then you pulled out a Beatles song. No, everyone was enjoying and having a good time. You pulled out a cover, and suddenly the energy in the room went way up, and it stayed there after you were done playing the cover and you were back to your original stuff. Because what you did is gave people another entry point into understanding who you are as an artist. And they're like, oh, I really like this guy. I'm starting to get him. I understand him as an artist. Because when you're just playing original music, they're trying to figure out your songs. They've never heard them before. I think most people are sort of standoffish with new music that they haven't heard yet.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you think about your favorite songs, maybe the first time you heard it, you're like, I don't like it. Then you hear it a couple more times. Oh, it's growing on me. Oh, I'm really digging this. I kind of understand what they're going for. That, I think, doing covers leapfrogs a lot of that. And I remember when you were playing, Chris, someone walked through the room and they immediately stopped and were like, yeah, I'm digging this, because you were doing a cover that they knew, but then it was all about your interpretation of that cover, which was all about your artistry. So I think that's one of the biggest tools in your toolkit you can use to break down that barrier for new fans, by doing your interesting version of covers. Now, if you're just doing basically a note for note remake of the original, that's not going to do it. I mean, that might get you on some good cover song playlist, but that's not going to do anything for you as an artist.
Well, I think if we refer to that particular show, I think what happens is you give people a kind of permission to enjoy your original stuff. Because for me, I use that cover or covers like it sometimes to break up the mood. Like, my stuff is like dark and somber, poetic, even if it's more upbeat. It's got this, like, I think people could think I'm a very like self-serious, like I take myself for. So then it's like, okay, we've done 3 songs like that. It's time for Katy Perry. So that everyone knows I don't take myself that seriously, and we're all allowed to have fun, even if I go back to my dark, depressing stuff. Like, does that make sense? And I think you can do the same thing for your social presence, is like, be who you are, but you can use the covers to almost alter or patch up the vibe for the things you're not, I don't know, often presenting on your own, whether it's a tone or a topic or whatever.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of strategies here. One, a cover can be great to, like, in the vein of what you're talking about there, can be to pull out a cover that maybe fits the emotional vibe happening in the world at that moment. Maybe you don't have a song that speaks to it, but you can pull out a cover. The other thing is, you can go after cover songs that are popular. In fact, I don't know if I'm kind of curious if it's still as much of a thing on YouTube as it used to be. I just don't see these creators anymore. I used to see them more often in my feed, but people used to be like, they would do a cover song a week. Usually it was immediately after some big artist released a new album or song, they would cover it immediately. It'd be on YouTube. And they would be doing the channels that were successful, and I'm sure they're still out there, were the ones that were doing their own unique version of those songs. And some of them have built followers in the millions and making a full-time living doing that. That's a different strategy. But I think at the end of the day, I think most people who frown on covers, like, I'm a musical genius, why would I do covers? Because you're not thinking about strategy, and you're not understanding the state of the people who encounter your music, that some of them have no idea who you are and they don't care. This gives them a reason to have some sort of, like I said, you're speaking a musical language they already know. And you're like, okay, this is interesting. I like this song. I'm going to see what they do with it. And you can make covers that are more geared towards your fans, that tell the story about your influences. In one of the tours that we did for Small Town Poets, we had a whole influencer section. It was like our acoustic set. Acoustic sets were popular at the time in the middle of a show. They still are popular, but instead of it just being us stripping down our own songs, we used it to talk about the people that influenced our songwriting, our music making, and all that kind of stuff. And it became something that helped tell the story of our music. So there's different ways that you use covers to be more strategic, and not just like, I'm doing a random cover because whatever, and feel like you're just a party band.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with being a party band, by the way. I love a good party.
We got a bunch of comments I wanted to hit real quick, just so everyone knows. Your more than welcome to ask a question, or if you have experience about any of the videos, video strategies you've employed, let us know. Ian is saying basically those interview videos he makes, some of them perform really well, others are kind of meh, but it's quick and easy content that a lot of people enjoy. Hello to Somerset, UK. Hello to Louisiana. Do we frown on using AI? I don't, as long as the way you're using it is, I don't know if transparent is the right word. I don't know. What's your thought? Like, I guess I don't want to listen to a song that's entirely made by AI. I don't think I'll be fooled yet, but I also I feel like there's something unethical about that.
I don't know if I told you this, Chris, but I was just, I was at a conference in Italy and I saw a panel that was about AI, and I don't know what this person's role was at their company. I thought they owned a company, but them talking about AI, they were talking about how they just were using Suno to create songs for his band to play at clubs. I'm like, that seems...
Why not just be a cover band of songs everyone already loves?
Yeah. Why not just play covers of songs that we know are good, as opposed to just, I don't know. It was weird. It kind of left... he was not the star of the panel, I will say. People were like, how did this guy get on this panel?
Thanks. I'll take one if you're handing them out. Hello to Melbourne.
Carla.
Puget Sound. Hello to Puget Sound.
I'm just down the road from you, Carla.
Okay, let's see. Covers are a must. Talking about, so how different types of music perform on different platforms differently. Pandora is big for instrumental covers for sure.
Yeah.
Hello to Alabama. Thanks for using Reverb Nation and BandLab.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. This one, just saw a TikTok account today that makes AI covers of famous singers, like using a song from Rosé and Let It Be Sung by the AI generated voice of Taylor Swift. It sounds fun and entertaining, but maybe some legal trouble headed their way, especially with using people's voices without their permission. I know you mentioned laws, Chris. That's one of the main ones that people want the right of publicity.
Fortunately or unfortunately, my most streamed songs are my covers. I released 5 cover songs in back-to-back weeks around the theme of addiction with blog posts. Having a theme seemed to connect. That's cool. I like that idea.
And Miles, don't worry about the cover songs being your most streamed, because it's about just building that artistic connection with people who are listening, and just keep writing and recording. I think the one of the other things I think that's great about an artist having covers in the mix is that, like Chris, you mentioned, there's already been many genius musicians that have come before us. Mm-hmm. And when you learn covers, it forces you to expand your musical vocabulary, and it forces you to grow and get better. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm not going to avoid this opportunity to plug ourselves. Brian, if you're asking about Kevin and my music, he has a band called Small Town Poets. And you want to talk about your other project?
My fun project.
Your solo project.
I've been doing stuff under the name Red Machine. So there's some instrumentals. There's a pop hit.
Yeah,
burning up the charts.
It's a popular dance song on dance party playlists.
It's a popular dance song in my garage dance club.
And then I make music under my own name, Chris Robley, Robley.
Yeah. And I have another band out there called Hello Morning that we did a couple albums. I think they're still great, and we still get placements for that music every so often. So check it out.
Malia, I feel like AI is like cosmetic surgery. I think subtle help is okay, but much more and people know it's fake.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious. Where we go from here, when it relates to AI. I mean, this isn't a video about AI, but I know that it's been Like I keep seeing, because we're talking about video, I keep seeing all these things. In fact, there was one yesterday I saw like, oh, this new generation of this AI video creation tool. Look at this. It's amazing. And then you go and you're like, oh, I want to try this out. And you realize it does that one thing. That's all it does. And they made one video from it. You can keep remaking that same video over and over again. But the AI tools for video to me are still hit and miss. Yeah. As far as just creating something from scratch, like giving it some inputs and it churning out videos. Because for some of these, like some of the song snippet videos, that's an option. Like just put in some scenarios in AI and have it crank out a bunch of different videos. But I haven't engaged with those in a handful of months. I need to again, but I wasted so much time and was so disappointed with the results that I'm like, I'll come back to this in a bit.
Melissa's saying I'm a songwriter, so it helps with my producing as instrumentals. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I've been tempted to try some of the tools that are like audio enhancement stuff. So like do a quick recording of an acoustic guitar and then be like, hey, make that sound like a super well mic'd Gibson or whatever. Like that sort of enhancement, I think is pretty exciting.
If you're not using BandLab, you absolutely should download the BandLab app, but you could also use it from your browser. It has some crazy free AI tools. Some of them you have to be a member to get access to, but I was using them the other day and it's insane. You can upload your master recording. You can use the splitter tool. And if you have a membership, you have more options for the splitter tool. And then you can convert all those files to MIDI. You can change the voice to whatever you want. There's like some AI voices. So if you are a songwriter and you want to write something from a female perspective or male perspective and have a voice, you can sing it in and have it change your voice. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. And then you can also do this thing where, let's say you're on the subway, you're like singing into your phone. There's going to be all kinds of crazy noise. Well, you can have it remove the background noise, like sort of sweeten the vocal that's there, auto tune it, have it converted to MIDI, replace it with a synth.
It's crazy. It's crazy, yeah. What you can do.
We have some more comments, but we also have two last things on our list.
Yeah, let's get to those videos, then we'll power through the comments. The last two are pretty quick.
Yeah, so number 9 is live videos. And I think when we talked about song snippets, we said that you could be doing live performance videos on social. And I totally think you should. Live videos, vertical videos on TikTok and Reels do really well. So I think you should do that. However, I think the emphasis of this is a little bit more like have a good video of you in a club or at a concert, a theater, or at a house show, whatever it is, that shows not just that you are there sounding great, but that the audience is loving it. So you want this to be a thing that shows you've kept people's attention, you've kept them in the bar, they're still spending money, they love it, so that someone in the industry or a talent buyer, a house show booker, a festival booker will see that and say, yes, you can do this. Here's the opportunity. I know you'll do a great job. So it's kind of like a resume piece. Have a good live video that's specifically meant to help you get more gigs.
Yeah, and you could use this in conjunction with several of the videos that we said, but it's also important that you understand by live video, we don't mean get somebody to stand as far back in the room as they can, where they're like, there's no way possible I can get further from the stage, and shoot it where the band looks this big and it looks like a giant empty room, whether or not there's people there, because you're so far away, it just looks ridiculous. That's not what we're talking about. In fact, I wish I'd had a clip. We did this at my former employer. We did this showcase at this really cool club in London, and there was only about 30 people that showed up, but the band was amazing. And I got all this amazing footage where I was like up close shooting them. And like, all you could see is like my screen was just the guitar player and live, and he's just going at it. And it looked really exciting and energetic. I wanted to contrast that to what it looked like standing 30 feet back, where it looked like there's a band on a stage and there's like 10 people standing around. And the difference in what the vibe felt like, it was the exact same show. And it's like, if you just get people who know how to film, you can turn any live performance into some amazing video content that could be used as like a live video. It could be used as a part of a some of the other things that we've already talked about, but just getting people to understand, fill that screen with the action. You're not documenting every person that was there and every empty chair that was there. You're documenting the excitement and the energy. And nothing, you want to see me lose concentration on stage more than the number one thing that makes me lose
it back of the room
is when I ask somebody to shoot some footage and video and I give them instruction and then I see them standing a mile away with probably on a wide angle too, so they can make sure they get the people standing in the parking lot as well. It's like I will just like, oh my gosh, and I'll get so distracted. I'm like, you should be standing right here. That's where the action is, not way back there.
You know, and then I've also encountered the opposite problem where when the club is full and people are having like a great time, the person is up front.
Yes.
And they don't turn around to show the crowd. I'm like, either way, you're screwed. What are these people doing?
I don't know. Is it, I do have a photography background, but it still blows my mind in 2024, almost 2025, where everybody is practically shooting and videoing something every day. They're definitely watching video every day, that people still don't understand how to take a quality photo or video. It's not hard, people. Follow a few Instagram accounts that tell you how to do it. And you'd be like, oh, that's why no one likes my videos, because they're awkward feeling. It's like, yeah. Anyway, we've got one more.
Yeah, the last thing on our list we sort of touched on with Ian's idea about shooting interviews of himself, but it's the behind the scenes video. And these could be vertical, again, they could be short, but I think what we're talking about here is a little longer form, and Ask Me Anything, a documentary, a mini documentary behind the scenes in the recording studio or whatever it is. It's meant to be like a, hey, you love this act, you love this band, this artist, like sit down and watch a 5 to 10 minute thing about them that goes further into some project or something like that. Yeah.
And for this, I don't think these have to be all specifically planned from the start. It just starts with like, I'll have when I'm in the studio with my band, I'll have some cameras rolling. And sometimes it'll capture some conversation around a song that's really interesting. And at the time, you don't necessarily know if it's going to be interesting because you don't know what songs people are going to gravitate towards or what lyrical themes or whatever. But like, for example, we were working out something with a particular song and there was a discussion going back and forth. And at the time I thought, oh, this is interesting. I got it. But then I found out after the album's out and people start gravitating towards certain songs, that was actually a very content gold moment that I captured. But if the song had been one that people didn't care about, nobody would have cared. So I think it's just like, get some stuff, cameras going. My pet peeve here is when you're in the studio, no one wants to watch you do 1,000 takes of the guitar track. What they want to hear is the discussion about the guitar track. So the other thing that distracts me in the studio is when someone's videoing and they keep hitting record when we start playing, and the second we're arguing or discussing the track, they turn it off. I'm like, that's what people want to see.
The argument.
The argument. They don't care about the 1,000 take that sounds the same to them. They want to hear the discussion, the process, the things that artists go through in order to get to their art. And that's different than just watching us go through the motions of playing a song.
Yeah. Well, I shared a link to an article that recaps all of these, this list of 10 types of videos you should be making, but we've got a few comments we could hit.
Yeah, let's run through those real quick.
Black Hole. Cover songs seem impractical and perhaps hypocritical for a retro progressive rock band. Am I wrong? Or do I cover songs 40-year-old tracks? So I'm confused because retro prog rock so are you making new original music in the style of 40-year-old prog rock? I mean,
like, do you sound like Yes?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But in which case, why not just throw a Yes cover in? Like, well, one,
also, if the assumption is that they are making progressive rock that sounds like bands from like the 70s, the rise of prog rock, covers of new songs in that style is exactly what I'm talking about, where it's like that brings them into you as a music. They're hearing a song that they know in a style that you do that's different than how the original was. To
That would
me,
be even cooler.
that's
Yeah.
the cool thing. It's like, I mean, do a prog rock version of Hot to Go. I'd like to hear that. I'm not even a prog rock fan, but I got to hear that.
Yeah. No, that sounds cool. Like, and how complicated can you make a really simple pop song? That'd be awesome.
How long can it be?
Yeah.
How many different time signatures and various guitar solos and things can you put in there that are just very technical?
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
want to hear it.
See, so that's the thing. I think that's how I would look at it is that based on what Chris and I just assumed from the comment.
Let's see.
Sorry. You did the same at the same time. You put one up. Go ahead.
Oh, let's see, Brian. I'm going to do a few 10 to 15 seconds for our last release. Yeah, cool. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah. And Miles, so he kept thinking of that running scene in Monty Python where Lancelot is like a mile away. Yeah, it keeps. Yeah. You know, there's times I've just wanted to walk off the stage and go help the person who was videoing us. Look, this is the show is, I'm doing this for the content online. I'm not doing it for the people in the room. So if you can't get this right, I don't know what we have left.
Siberiac, tell us about it. What are we missing? And I can do time signature. All right, there you go. Turn a 4/4 pop song that has 3 chords into a 7/4 or 13/8 masterpiece with every chord under the sun.
Yeah. Oh, it's a new platform. I've not heard of it.
I'm
all right.
Leaving a note for myself here.
Again, we've had a lot of people join along the way. You've been watching the Music Career Study Group. Chris and I are here every Thursdays at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. We will be here for our final one of the 2024 season next week. Mark your calendars. It's going to be a good one. We'll make it fun and light. It's always fun and light. But we're going to be talking about the biggest news stories of the year. And I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts. And we'll even talk about maybe a little glimpse into 2025 and what might be in store for us in the year ahead.
Heck yeah. All right.
Well,
we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like or share the video. That helps us a ton. We're trying to get the Music Career Study Group off the ground and make it a weekly thing where the whole music community comes together and we just learn from one another and get better and grow our audiences and do cool things. So yeah. And we've had a very global audience today. People all over, because I think Siberiac is in Georgia, not the state, the country.
All right. Well, thanks, y'all. We'll see you next week for an hour of controversy.
All right.
Events.
Yep. Mark your calendar next Thursday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, wherever you are in the world, whatever time that means for you, please join us and it'll be fun.
See ya.